From the murky waters of the sportsman's paradise, stories emerge. Stories of the generations of people who have shared in the bounties of the land. Stories of communities that have persevered through natural disasters. Stories of the abundance of fish, wildlife, and adventures that create an ecosystem rich in diversity. And from the silted banks of the mighty Mississippi to the soggy marsh bottoms, from the tops of towering pine forests to the depths of the salty Gulf, human and animal have shared this fortune for centuries. Enjoy these stories as told by outdoor journalists who travel across our state, documenting the adventure, sportsmanship, and heritage that make us Bayou Wild.
Welcome to Queen Bess Island off the coast of Grand Isle, once one of the major rookeries for pelicans in the world. Due to coastal erosion, it was severely damaged, but thanks to an aggressive restoration program, the pelicans are back.
You know, there's 50 years we're working off this island with pelicans. The importance of trying to get this together and get it going was really at a point where we had to make a move.
Not only a great conservation story for our state bird, it's also a successful coastal restoration effort.
The old adage about taking lemons and making lemonade, but at the end of the day, not only are we going to have a positive economic impact on Louisiana, we're developing experience and expertise here in Louisiana that is going to be in dire need across the country, everywhere that there's coast, and around the world.
A lot of money, $19 million has been invested in restoring this place, which is critical habitat for our state bird, the brown pelican, and a great place to come catch a speckled trout.
For people that don't live here, and the people, you know, our folks that come in from out of town and stuff, they really get a lot of interest out of that.
When you come here to Grand Isle, a lot of places to fish. But did you know that one of the most popular places is also one of the largest pelican rookeries in the world? Closed captioning made possible by Cto.com. Become a member.
In 1967, Dutch Stogner realized his dream to run his own meat market. 50 years and 3 generations later, Double D and the Stogner family still operate with Dutch's original commitment to quality. Pick up some Double D sausage today and share your good times with us on Facebook.
I've been using Louisiana fish fry products so much, even the kids are getting into it.
Funny yellow bag, pour and boil, a great crawfish every time.
And whether you're boiling crawfish, shrimp, or crabs, Louisiana fish fry products use the perfect blend of garlic, onion, spices, and salt for your seafood boils. So look for the bright yellow bag and pour and boil with Louisiana fish fry products. It's that time of year, Cca Star Tournament time. We might have a star winner, folks! Don't miss your chance for more categories, more prizes, and more smiles. Young and old, there's a division for everyone. You can win a truck, RV, boat, and much more. Sign up today for a chance to become an early bird winner. The fun starts Memorial Day weekend. Visit Cca Star to get your ticket today.
Imagine Louisiana without the brown pelican. It's hard to believe that Louisiana's state bird, a symbol that has represented Louisiana even long before statehood, was once on the brink of extinction.
In the 1950s and 60s, DDT was a very popular pesticide used throughout the United States. That pesticide made its way into waterways and into the fisheries in South Louisiana and bioaccumulated into brown pelicans and led to a failure of nesting in coastal Louisiana. And so by 1963, the birds were extirpated from the state. So in 1968, a group of biologists from the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries teamed up with biologists in Florida and began to bring birds from Florida over to Louisiana to reintroduce the brown pelican.
Over the next 8 years, more than 750 brown pelican chicks were relocated from Florida to Queen Bess Island near Grand Isle. The year 1971 was monumental for the brown pelican, as biologists documented 11 nests, which marked the first successful recolonization of the species in over a decade.
We would feed them, care for them until they were able to fledge. And once the bird learns to fledge, it's going to come back to nest wherever it was successful fledging. It's a tribute to the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries for taking a chance when there wasn't a lot of data. And there's a lot of people that were involved in this reintroduction and restoration program.
The furthest western population during that reintroduction effort was in Panama City. So it was going to take a lot of time in order to get that species to naturally colonize this area. But we knew that the habitat was here. So that's why when we brought them here, we only had to do that a couple times in order to get this population going. And really it's about the habitat and maintaining these habitats out here.
The majestic brown pelican growth continued to soar as the population spread across the coast.
And those numbers have continued to climb ever since. And today we have just as many, if not more, birds than we did prior to the effects of DDT in coastal Louisiana.
In 2009, the brown pelican was removed from the Louisiana Endangered Species List. And just as the future seemed so bright, the 2010 BP Deepwater Horizon oil spill took a devastating toll on the flourishing brown pelican.
The largest man-made disaster in the United States. And all that oil moved into coastal Louisiana. And just like you would expect, very similar to DDT, those effects started showing up on brown pelicans. We were seeing brown pelicans come into the colonies oiled, and then sure enough, the oil came in and affected the colonies and the birds were further impacted. So there was a large effort to go out and capture these birds, rehabilitate them. And now we are in that post-oil spill world, and we're starting to get some of the funding from BP for those impacts. And today we're also talked about how the state is under engineering design to do a large-scale restoration effort on Queen Bess Island.
Much like the towns and the people of Louisiana who have bounced back after disasters, so has the brown pelican.
What we have learned is that brown pelicans are a good indicator of the health of our marshes. Brown pelicans are a very resilient bird, and given the right habitat and the right opportunity, they can and they will rebound. In 2010 in Barataria Bay, there were about 5 brown pelican nesting colonies. And as we stand here today, there is only one left, and that is Queen Bess. And that's why it's so important for the state to get out there and restore that habitat so we can provide habitat for this bird well into the future.
The population across the state is 80 to 100,000 brown pelicans. So this is important to sustaining their habitat. And again, it's one of 3 rookeries that are essential to maintaining that habitat.
These birds are resilient just like Louisiana people. And you know what? They recognize the importance of the bird so that your children and your grandchildren will be able to enjoy the brown pelicans that you see here today.
Today, it's rare to visit any coastal community and not see numbers of pelicans gathered around piers and soaring along the surf.
I mean, that's part of, one of the beautiful things. It's on the state flag, it's on our state seal. You go to the beach, you can't, who'd never seen pelicans kind of skirting down the beach, or when you go out fishing or enjoying some time on the water, they're just perched on every piling there is. I mean, to have that species not part of this ecosystem would just be an incredible thing. I can't even imagine what that would look like.
Louisiana's state bird is more than just a feathered fish-eating coast dweller. It is a symbol of a healthy coastal habitat. It is a symbol of resilience and success. It is a symbol of culture, union, justice, confidence. It is a symbol that defines Louisiana.
Discover the taste of Louisiana that's seasoned just right, boiled to perfection, and rich with tradition. A taste that's savory, crispy, and a little sweet. Discover the taste of Louisiana fish fry products.
We love our children. We protect them. We guide them. We prepare them for life in the world. With all that we do, from deep in our hearts, we cannot control all things. Life-threatening illnesses and disabilities affect far too many of our children each year. While we cannot change the circumstance, we can make dreams come true. Dreams to provide hope, to provide spiritual healing and strength, to provide moments of happiness and relief in the hardest of times. Hunt of a Lifetime is a nonprofit organization fulfilling dreams for hunting and fishing trips to youth 21 and under with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities. Visit huntofalifetime.org to learn how you can make a difference.
If you're lucky enough to bag a deer or a hog this season, bring it here to Double D. Double D processes hogs and exotic game and guarantees your product is always the meat you brought to Double D.
Double D Meats in Bogalusa, home of country smoked, spicy jalapeno cheddar, and other customized flavors.
Bring your deer or your hog here to Double D, where you always get your meat back in return. It's worth a drive to Bogalusa from anywhere. Double D.
Queen Bess Island, also known as Bird Island, one of the most iconic places in the state of Louisiana. So close to Grand Isle, every year thousands and thousands of anglers come out here in their boats to catch speckled trout and redfish. But this is one of the most important places in the state for our state bird, the brown pelican.
The importance of trying to get this together and get it going was really at a point where we had to make a move. And the governor's support and him getting us all together and saying, guys, we need to get it on the ground. And that's what has made this happen. And that's the awesome part about it.
I know it's a special effort to get out here and to see so many people who came out today. Not quite often we talk about partnerships, and we always mean it, but it's not always so evident. But today, everybody who is here has been a partner in making this project the success that it is and that it's going to be going forward. This island certainly looks much better today, than it did just a few months ago. Queen Bess in many ways symbolizes coastal Louisiana. We have faced adversity and we will persevere in defending our coast. And it is my absolute pleasure to be here with you today to reopen this island and to help welcome the brown pelican and all the other birds of our coast who rely on these critical acres in the Gulf back home to Queen Bess.
This island had actually deteriorated to about 5 acres as a result of saltwater intrusion, erosion, subsidence, sea level rise, and as a result of the money from the BP oil spill settlement, which was earmarked for about $18.7 million for this specific project. We were able to take sediment out of the Mississippi River, put it on a barge, transport it here to Queen Bess Island, and then we have various dredges that are actually pumping that sediment in place to restore this island. So it was down to 5 acres, and we were able to restore this island up to 36 acres now. So critical habitat for migratory birds, as well as overall restoration and protection for this area.
We're here in early February. We're 2 weeks away from the end of construction on this island, which took it from 5 acres of pelican habitat all the way up to 36 acres. This place is important. It breaks up wave action. It's a great place for pelicans to come and nest. It's a big investment being made with oil spill penalty monies. This island 10 years ago was covered in oil. It became a toxic place for pelicans and fish. Now, because of the investment of those oil spill penalties, we're here on a place that's going to be great pelican habitat, great fisheries habitat for decades to come.
Well, first of all, the work in order to protect our coast is critically important because we have 2.5 million people living and working along the coast. But this is a direct source of jobs for many of those people and people from elsewhere in the state of Louisiana as well. And by the way, these opportunities are going to be available for decades to come.
From day one, the governor has challenged us to work together as a team in order to get projects off of the drawing board and get them done. And so this is one of the first ones that we've been able to do this on. And look, within 12 months, we're going to have this done.
This project is a great example of the various ways we can use the resources that come out of the Mississippi River. This sand that we're standing on here was dredged out of the bottom of the river, and it looks very much like the sand that's on our barrier islands. But this is another way that we can use the materials in the Mississippi River to rebuild coastal Louisiana.
This island really kind of tells the story of the BP oil spill. This is an island that experienced extensive damage as a result of the spill. It's an island that had experienced degradation for many, many years, and that degradation and that damage was further exacerbated by the BP oil spill. But it also shows how much we have recovered and the amount of work that we've done to recover from the damages and the injuries that were experienced as a result of the spill.
I can remember Queen Bess Island as always being a popular place to fish, but over the years, due to coastal erosion, it was really sadly damaged. It was also affecting the population of our state bird, the brown pelican, but since the coastal restoration efforts really came through, reestablished it, and now the pelicans are back better than ever.
It accounts for about 15 to 20 of their overall nesting area in coastal Louisiana. So this is a very, very important project, from not only from a restoration standpoint, but also a habitat for migratory birds, particularly those of the brown pelican, our state bird. In this fiscal year alone, we will, for the first time in the history of the coastal program, we will hit that $1 billion benchmark for annual allocations. We've got more hurricane protection and coastal restoration projects under construction right now than we ever have in the history of the state. So real progress is being made for the people who live and work across coastal Louisiana.
Now we're out here, a very innovative project, which is taking sediment dredged from the Mississippi River, which is about 30 miles to our east, put in a barge, pumped out here and shaped on this island. Pretty soon there'll be vegetation growing all over here. The pelicans will be back building their nests, and the fishermen will be out here catching fish.
Speckled trout.
In 1967, Dutch Stogner realized his dream to run his own meat market. 50 years and 3 generations later, Double D and the Stogner family still operate with Dutch's original commitment to quality. Pick up some Double D sausage today and share your good times with us on Facebook.
This is Don Dubuque asking you to join me as a member of the Coastal Conservation Association. For 30 years, CCA has worked in Louisiana to conserve our incredible fisheries, making sure that our fishing is great today and for generations to come. Whether looking out for redfish and specks, eliminating gill nets, building reefs across the coast, or work at the state capitol and in D.C., CCA is doing what's best for the fish and the sport we love so much. Your $30 membership will ensure that this work and our great fishing endures well into the future. Go to ccalouisiana.com and join CCA today.
One interesting point about restoring this island was the source of funding. It was almost a gift that we got, the BP money, which paid for the restoration of Queen Bess Island.
A lot of money, $19 million has been invested in restoring this place, which is critical habitat for our state bird, the brown pelican, and a great place to come catch a speckled trout.
Queen Bess is such a popular spot to fish around Grand Isle, a lot of it because it's so close. It is so close to the island itself that people don't have to travel far to get it. But what keeps bringing them back over and over is the fact that it is just a tremendous place to fish.
It's a beautiful spring day out here at Queen Bess Island near Grand Isle. We're catching speckled trout, and the pelicans are enjoying it too. And not only is it a great story of conservation, but also one of restoration.
The big goal is to not lose habitat. If we don't lose habitat, our fishermen are going to have an opportunity to get out there and catch some fish.
The restoration project here has taken this from an island that was sinking and falling apart to a place that's going to be here for 3 or 4 more decades. The elevation that they've built out here, the amount of sand that they've pumped in, and the rocks that they've put around it are going to make sure that vegetation grows here to hold the sand in place, and this place is going to be around for a long time.
You've got rocks all around it. You've got oyster reefs on one side of it. It's right next to a major thoroughfare for the shrimp and pogies and everything else as they start migrating back and forth from the marsh. That actually gives you a break in that current, gives that bait and everything a place to be. A lot of times, you know, starting off early in the spring, you start fishing them with live shrimp, plastics under a carp. You can tight line them or work them rod and reel kind of thing.
Speckled trout.
As the spring goes on, you're going to find that pogies and croakers do you a whole lot better a lot of times, and you get a lot bigger fish here because we are catching more open water fish than your little marsh knotheads. A lot of times you got to adjust your efforts around Queen Bess because it'll get crowded here. But remember what I said about the way that it breaks the major current headed to the Gulf of Mexico. A lot of times your schools of shrimp and all will get on the outer edges where the current meets and where that current separates and meets because of the diversion of the island. And a lot of times that's where you catch it. When you hear us talking about we're fishing under the birds and all, a lot of times it's right here in this bay around this island because it has moved the shrimp down that current bank, and that's where you find them. For people that don't live here and the people, you know, our folks that come in from out of town and stuff, not only do they like seeing the pelicans, they like seeing the dolphins and stuff, and then later in the spring when the fledglings actually get out and get to going around and walking the islands and learning how to swim, they really get a lot of interest out of that.
All right, so next time you come fishing at Grand Isle, stop here at Queen Bess Island and enjoy our state bird and catch a few fish while you're at it.
Well, if you're looking for a peaceful day of fishing, this isn't necessarily the place to do it. It gets loud, and those birds they just don't stop. They've got a good set of lungs on them. And then on the days when the wind's blowing and you have to fish downwind, yeah, it gets a little, you got to get used to that smell of ammonia.